Good morning. I hope you have your coffee handy. Today we're going to be working on some Photo Easy silk screens. This is one of the coolest projects. It's quick and your results are immediate, and you can use them, the silk screens, the same day and over and over and over again. So let's get started. Before we get started, I just wanted to show you some of the silk screens that I've made since I started using the Photo Easy silk screen system. To show you in the photographs, this was the original photograph, and then this was the silk screen that I created from this photograph. So it's something that you really can use photography with very easily. I've got several that started out as photographs, like this vintage camera, and then the finished product from the silk screen to the mug on this one, that's how I end up using it. On the camera, what I do is I use both sides of the image on the silk screen, and the owl, the silk screen that I used to create this mug, was this one right here. And they can be used over and over and over again. This was one of the first silk screens that I created with the Photo Easy silk screen system, and it's still in perfect condition, and it's been used number of times. Another fun thing you can do, and it makes this whole process pay off for itself, is if you want to have repetitive images, you can use the same silk screen over and over again like a stencil on like a frame that I used for this. They're really great for flat surfaces like this tile, because it gives you a really good image. But at the same time, because they're flexible, they're very easy to wrap around a cylindrical form. If you buy the kit from Photo Easy, you're going to get a great instruction sheet that is perfect as far as a step-by-step walkthrough on how to make the silk screens. You're going to get a piece of plexiglass. You're going to also get a piece of fabric-covered board. You're going to receive a sample kit of the actual silk screens, and you're going to receive clips that will be used to hold the frame together. You're going to get a plastic grid, and I think these are actually used in embroidery, but I'm not sure. But I've seen these around before in the craft stores. You may want to have a marker or pencil, and you're going to need some high contrast black and white images to as your basis for the silk screens. You're going to want a dark towel, and that's good to protect the silk screen while you're walking in the sunlight and in your house with it. You're going to need some paper towels, and you're also going to want a container, a relatively large container that you can fill with water, because that'll be part of the developing process. You're going to want to be near water, because after the silk screen is sat in that bucket of water, you're going to have to run it underwater for a while to refine and get all of the excess silk screen material off of the fabric. And that's about it. It's a pretty easy process. There's not a lot involved. There's no chemicals, which is really fantastic. And the only other thing now that you're going to need is your image. Next up, I'm going to show you how to take a color photograph and convert it to black and white, and a high contrast black and white image at that. I'm using Photoshop Elements, and up on the screen I have a photograph of a butterfly, and the first area that I'm going to go to is Enhance, and there I'm going to come down to Convert to Black and White and click on that. The area of Convert to Black and White actually gives us some selections of styles that we can use for the black and white image. So you can actually choose from infrared effect or newspaper. And usually what I do is I kind of go back and forth, and sometimes I'll compare them to the other ones that are available. But I found that besides those two, the others are a little bit too much of a gray scale, mid-tones. What I want is a high contrast black and white image. So the winner, I believe, is going to be newspaper on this particular photograph. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click OK. Now I have my black and white photograph. So now I want to actually make it a higher contrast black and white image. So I'm going to come up to Enhance and down to Adjust Lighting, and then slide over to Brightness and Contrast. And what I want to do, using this slide bar, I want to slide over the brightness until I see a really good contrast between the blacks and the whites. And then I'm going to also see if the contrast is going to help me out there as well, because sometimes contrast will get even more black and white for us. So I'm pretty happy with the way that looks, so I'm going to click OK. And one other area that you can use in your toolbar to play around with the contrast is in Filter. And if you come over to Filter and Brush Strokes, sometimes the Sumi E can give you a real high contrast black and white. And it did make this one even more black and white than it was before, but I think it's obliterating a little bit of the image, so I'm going to actually tell it that I want to undo the Sumi E. It's just something that you can kind of play around with sometimes and see how you want it to affect your overall image. And then the last thing that I want to do is I want to crop the image down a little bit to where I don't have all of that extra background. So I'm just going to come over and I'm going to tell it crop. So now I've got it down to an image that size. And now I'm ready to print it. And I'm going to come down to print. And what I want the computer to know is that it's plain paper. I want best quality. I'm going to tell it where the paper is. And I'm using 8.5 by 11 size paper. The first image is going to be an 8 by 10, and that's using up almost the whole sheet of paper. So I'm going to click on Print, and that will get it into the print queue. Then one of the great things about this is that I can actually do different sizes. So if I want to do a 3.5 by 5, all I have to do is change the print size and tell it to print. And if I want to do a 4 by 6, make it a little bit bigger, tell it to print. If I want to do a 5 by 7, same thing. So I can have a full range of sizes for this image, and that I can use for the silk screens. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. Okay, my printouts of the altered photographs turned out pretty good, and then I've got 4 different sizes of the butterfly photograph. And I'm now ready to get started silk screening. And the timing is just right because I think the sun is up to a full nice intensity for the silk screen to develop. So I'm gonna now get started.